lecturer, columnist, preservationist, tour operator, and archivist. In addition to providing musical presentations throughout the world, she was also the first Gullah Geechee person to speak on behalf of the culture before the United States. Let me start all over. All right. Quet Goodwine is a published author, lecturer, columnist, preservationist, tour operator, and the art activist. In addition to providing musical presentations throughout the world, she was also the first Gullah Geechee person to speak on behalf of the culture before the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland. Ms. Goodwine is the recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award from the South Carolina African American Heritage Commission. Her writings on the history of the Gullah people have been honored with various awards and are being utilized in educational facilities across the country. She is also the founder of the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition. Please help me welcome Queen Quet, Head of State for the Gullah Geechee Nation. Can everyone please stand?
Amen. Oh, free. and you didn't have to do this. Y'all have to do this fast thing, y'all been up. I can't clap like a signal. I ain't clapping. Which one you want me to do? Now see, you're gonna get you to the all of that. See, y'all gotta make a choice. Y'all are, boy, I gotta do this, y'all. Boy, I gotta do this. But see, you can't just always have a choice for just do one thing. We ain't never just had no chance for just to do one thing. But we done get children from the motherland, from out here, Gullah, 100 years ago, all of Africa today. We ain't had a chance for just to do no one thing. They were wanting for walk and be a midwife. They were wanting for know how to do the camera and all that thing like that. What become the Creole y'all over there. Okay, what you now for? Everything and things like that. They want you for walking now. They don't want you for going on and have a soul thing. But all the rest of people wait. They don't want you for going on and then burn the baby. And after you done birth the baby, you can hardly get chance to dust the baby. They want you for going up to the big house to do something else. And then, even though we went in all the house, but people just study for that call. Well, you had to go, or you had to go way down park, or you had to go, you ain't been in the carton or the rice, so they go and things like that. But you never yet. But all the science and things will be right now. But that team week, throw in there in the beats, and carry them out to Gullah, cross the line, well, they call it a little passage to me. Under the yellow, the blacksmith and thing, well, we come here, and then the smell the iron and thing like that, and make them all these your things, not just make them pretty soon, but if it's a brother with your line and thing like that. Because then the one who had the skill to make the tool. When they make our plant rice with tree in it, you know, all of them who come here, just like this, your sister got that black statue on, who will bring them over here, but had all that healing out there. And I talk about it. Then I talk about we mean healers and things like that. But they tell them with a course. Always they tell them, you go on your if you want to get some good old gumbo and things like that, and they're going to get you to fix that. They always tell them, oh, go over there if you want a plate of red rice, or you want some peas and rice and things like that. Every day. They tell you that all the time. Like that, what we do. Go get that. Yeah, I want to tell you. Even the engineers and things like that. Who else would I know how to take all of this young man and thing with tree and thing and clear around and thing like that? But then build up these things called trunks and make them so say chuck them down in the ground and so when the rain and thing fall in it, they hold the water back and thing like that. Why do you hold the water back? Because they done one up for riding the rice here. But then, he ain't been to no Google, he ain't been to no almanac, he ain't been to nothing like that. Well, until I get to be now and say, oh, the moon could change on this or this. People didn't have no calendar on the wall with the different moon day on. So that means they've been astrologers, astronomers, they've been a study. The cycle. And then we know, okay, this is the time for plant, this is the time for time for letting water in here, and this is the time for real to come in and let water find out. And you get it from the islands. From Jacksonville, North Carolina to Jacksonville, Florida, then they're going to get your nation. And 30 to 35 miles inland to this river, they call it Centron River and things like that. What kind of water that is? If we islands be in that land portion, what kind of water they are around? Salt water. What kind of water? Until it be for rice.
Fresh water.
Fresh water. So if one of the did in this your line with all of this your salt and all of this your salt, how you can get it more rice was in the whole of North America. And the people with TV ain't not going to all right. So they ain't not going how to do this. You had the part of it, and the engineering knowledge will come in you. Of the word. When you look back you up. And we bring all of that over you. And really create all of this shit. And make them look just like a man. For me. And then we build up all the other recipes for other recipes. We gonna crack we teeth before we get started this evening with the beer. Who the mother Geechee boots? Thought this your time we the dead. No, I told you. Yeah, we been there. And then walk over there first. Now we're gonna go around. You see all the chocolate looking till I'm over like doing it. That was like when you first begin to see, I'm gonna take in the 1600 and things like that. You would have seen nothing but the yellow sea and these sort of creed and all the children did it. And that end come all of these young country. And that started the new one now. Because one thing they knew all the time. They buckle them. None of their friend. They buckle them. I tried to keep it out. Over them. Over time. You ask everybody, please turn off your phones and your cameras, please. Thank you. So now, when we gather together, and it's your time now, that ain't time. People that gather together only when they will come together with you, wrongs of food. Or they will come together, wrongs of business. But then when they get together with me and do the crappy teeth and things like that, and I say, ah! We say, over here. He said, well then, good afternoon. How are you? And then they go, oh, how are you? Quite well, and yourself? Oh, I'm fine, you know. Here on vacation. Yes, we know. Well, you know, we were looking for the Gullahs. We don't know them, but we know the Gullahs. Oh, is that how you say that? Yes, it's Gullah, not Gullah. Oh, really? And then I said, Geechees, right? Well, we were looking for them. Uh-huh. You know, because we read about them. Yes. And we thought they were around here. Yeah. And that's the kind of response we get. Because to us, it's kind of obvious that if you make your way into the Gullah Geechee Nation, the likelihood that the person of African descent that you're speaking to might be Gullah Geechee. So why don't you ask us the right question and then you might get the right answer. But many times folks will say, well, do you know them? Yeah. That's what you ask. Now if you ask, are you Gullah Geechee? The person may or may not answer you. Because they want to know why you need to know that. So you may say, well, you know, we got here to Charleston the other day, and we were looking for the Gullahs, and said, but then they told us we need to go to Beaufort. So we drove down here to Beaufort, but we got to the city of Beaufort, and the people said, no, you need to go on St. Helens Island. And then we got here now to St. Helens Island, and we met y'all. He said, we sure you took that trip. But you know what? The people you were probably speaking to in Charleston were Gullah Geechee themselves. But since you was a steady looking, they decided to send you to go look. Because they want to know why you need to know. Why you all up in my business? I don't know you like that. That's what they try to figure out. All right? But so for years, people came to our community and they heard us speak our language, and I said, you're Gullah, they didn't stand there like, what? We don't understand the word you're saying. So then when people stop speaking our language to non-Gullah Geechees, then they come and say, well, we're looking for them. Because we can't possibly be them because we speak English. So, where are they? So then people will send you to go looking. Send you to you bet. Yeah. And the other issue is, unless you show up when we are actually working, right now, it is oyster season, it's shrimping season, it's fishing season, and it's hunting season. And unless somebody just done went court and captured something that day, and you catch us in the yard trying to work on it, this is what I wear when I'm heading shrimp. This is what I wear if we shucking oyster. But this is not what I'm wearing if I'm going into town to take care of business. But again, folks show up. If you ain't dressed like this, You ain't got a basket to put on on top of the head like this y'all. Going through the street and think. They said that's not a Gullah Geechee. So, y'all really think we all gonna start carrying everything in a basket every day? Y'all? I think not. Everybody can't carry no basket on top of their head. I can. But look at how many years I did it. Look what I had to do with it. This here is half the size of the baskets, the buckets that I used to carry on top of my head when working picking tomatoes. We had to carry bushel baskets of tomatoes. And that was when we were flying from the farm, we said. So that meant you weren't working in your own field. You were actually going to go away from your house and go work in the field for somebody else for pay. So they say, hey, when you're making 10 cents per bushel basket, and like I told you, this is half the size, okay? So 10 cents per bushel basket with the tomatoes heaped up over the top. I don't really consider that pay. That ain't even a token of appreciation, but that's what they call it. But to this day, I respect and appreciate that because that is work. When I'm sitting at my computer as a computer scientist using only my fingertips, I don't consider that work. I'm getting some stuff done, but that ain't really work because there ain't no labor. Now, when I got to get out there in the yard and I got to pull weeds out the field still, and I got to go out here and I got to still harvest my own tomatoes and cukes and all that thing like that, and butternut squash and all that thing like that, and carry me inside, and then as soon as I get in, my brother and them are coming up, come out here in this shirt. Now that's work. All right? And much less when you do this in our atmosphere. As I mentioned, the Gullah Geechee Nation begins at Jacksonville, North Carolina, and goes southward to Jacksonville, Florida, encompasses all the sea islands and 30 to 35 miles inland onto the mainland to the St. Johns River. Our average temperatures this time of year are 85 to 90 degrees. So imagine doing all of what I said in those temperatures or higher when it's tomato harvesting time. And with long sleeves on, jeans, and then all this on top of the jeans. Because I would wear an apron over a skirt over the jeans to work in the field. Anybody have any idea why? You say what?
Chiggers.
To keep you cool?
Bugs.
Say because of bugs? What? Huh? Because of what? Thorns? Oh, he said thorns? Y'all talking bugs and thorns. Y'all silly people. I said thorns. Are you kidding me? Come on, there's some sick. Bugs and thorns were the least of your concern. All right, and it sure wasn't keeping you cool. He said, keep you cool, bitch? No. It wasn't keeping you cool, but it kept you protected. Because what happens when you are picking tomatoes is the same way a tomato is green when you pick it, because that's when you pick for truck farming, you pick them green because they will ripen on their way to wherever they're going. You pick them green, you become green. So by the end of the day, you'll be like the Incredible Hulk if you just do that. The green on them comes off onto you very easily. All right? So we would cover up so you wouldn't be green all over the place at the end of the day. And sometimes then while you're sweating, the interaction between it and the salt of your body will cause you to itch. So protect it. Also from the sun, you cover your head. When you talk about cool, I thought you were going to say, you have your head covered at least a day. Yeah, the old people would always tell you, put a hat on your head, but gentlemen ain't supposed to have the hat on inside the building. All right? You have the hat on your head or have your head tied. All right? So that this way the sun wouldn't directly be on your head. So as a tradition that we brought from the motherland, again, you would tie your head not only to protect your mane, as some people call it, or your crown, but to protect your dome, your center. But at the end of the day, I wasn't going to go out dressed like I did coming off the farm. But somehow when people come to the Gullah Geechee Nation, they expect us to be dressed this way all the time. And please don't wear shoes, because you really can't be Gullah Geechee than these people. Why do you think they think that? TV. Who said? Yes. TV. Hollywood films. I look the one with the wings. All right? Independent flicks that people love, that supposedly depict our area, but have grown women walking around in long white dresses all day, every day, on the island, on the beach, in dress shoes. Think about these things, but people often don't. Like they say, a picture is worth what? 1,000 words. So how about a motion picture? How many words is that? And false words that then will get played over and over and over again. So now when people come to the Gullah Geechee Nation and we're not dressed this way, they say it can't be them, we gotta find them. If we're not sitting sewing a sweetgrass basket, it can't be them, we gotta find them. And God forbid that I would choose them. Because it definitely can't be them. They got shoes on. I seen y'all in the movies. Ain't nobody had no shoes on. Well, darling, you ain't seen no movie bus in Helena Island, South Carolina, because even during the Civil War, we were teaching shoe lasting on St. Helena Island. So why would we shoe last all these shoes and send them to everybody else and then have nothing for you that they could try? It don't make a lot of sense, does it? But sometimes you just got to get both together and get them to think. And see, that's why, like, where I live, it's just like this. It's a land where I want y'all to take a little journey to. Where for me, even the people are indigo people. They're blue when they're souls, and they're blue because of the old times that is, the thoughts that come to mind. Those things that sometimes bring pain, but then again with that strain, they gained a lot of strength. The muscle that kept us strong, the things that kept us out in the fields all the day long, and then yet still in the evening time, together in the bush off and things like that, and shout, oh, freedom, oh, before I did flee, I'd be buried. Going home, and so many times people think today that that journey was something simple, like folks just had a fire and get at ease, so like I tell you right now, I do such a thing like that. Talk. We worked hard then, we work hard now, because we even thought work was robbery. Work could only strengthen you, is how our elders really said. You wasn't going to wait till nobody was 15 years old to teach them how to make a bed. You wasn't going to wait till nobody was 13 years old to teach them that ain't nobody else going to pick up behind you. You wasn't going to wait till nobody was 8 years old to tell them they should wash off every day. You wasn't going to wait till nobody was 5 years old to tell them that, no, you ate out that plate, you could take it in the kitchen. These things you learn coming up, just sit back and sat while they're young. The Bible would say, train up a child in the way that he or she should go, and when they're older, they'll never depart. But if you ain't learn the children nothing, you don't want the children right. But the children must know, you must teach them. So when we would gather together in the evening time, and Big Daddy Mama that had one knee, your hand on, and things like that, their father could have just done finished serving up the food to everybody else in the house, everybody else on the hand by something now, and they might have to take a break when they even give up and stay serving. Nowadays, y'all don't know what a pot look like, because y'all got this thing called microwave. And some of y'all think that's all you do, wave and cook. Some think you wave food out the ground and it's just there. And some will leave it grow in a plastic bag in the stove. It doesn't. And see, that's why it's so critical today that when we start to talk about culture and community, especially those of people of color, that we're not relegated only to amusement and to eating. Because there has been this consistent conversation now, whenever I hear African American, African or black, somebody talking about food, either how food is killing us, but not how it's healing us. Or how we need to get back to farming, but yet nobody want to go outside. Because of the blood. Yvonne, you better take them, because she loves it. Anybody know what this is? It's a fishing net. She said, there's a net. Lord have mercy. Some saying crab. Now, okay, who said fish? Put your hand up. Okay, now who said crab? Put your hand up. Okay, and some is going any direction. Like, I check everything. This is for fish. This is a mullet fish net. We do not go out crabbing with this. All right? The crab and thing will have a ball with your net. So they ain't gonna get out. And they don't get out, they don't get out. No, this is a cast net. And this particular kind is a fishing net, wherein this one is a what kind of net? Don't mind the size. This one's a demo size. That's why he's short. You should see that length. But what is the difference? What's this one for? There you go, someone just said shrimp. Shrimp, right. Now why y'all said shrimp? Because the holes in the net are small. Okay? So the shrimps don't just get out. Alright? Unless you got some massive jumbo shrimps that might be mutated even. Are likely to get out of there. You see that? These are hand sewn. This one, Captain Greek, who keep it in wild net, and this one by our late Tuskegee Airman Luke Smalls, who many of y'all have seen on documentaries about our area. So this one for me. And he made me this one specifically because he knew I would carry them around to educate people that seafood does not grow in a plastic bag, in the freezer, in the supermarket. So instead of me having to always have a 5 or 6 foot bunch of net in a bag or in a suitcase, he said, I'm gonna make you this little one. Then people can understand with this little one. I said, well, I can't catch nothing. He said, you sure can't catch nothing. You'd be a little hungry if you go out trying to catch dinner with him, because it ain't gonna catch enough. All right, but it can cast. It will still open up. It has to open into a circle. And that's what the Gullah information is about. If you see our nets, if you see our baskets, if you see our flag, that for those of you who came in early and you got an opportunity to come into the room, if you see our flag, you see it's a circle and a center. So everything about our community is about opening up the circle so that people reach it, so that in the center of it, they get understanding. My favorite proverb is wisdom is the principal thing. So get wisdom. But in all like get understanding. And I like to let people know, I like to say overstanding because we've been under a little bit too long. But one thing that people do not understand is how do African people who were kidnapped and then dragged and then separated and some thrown here in the Caribbean Isles, some brought over to Charlestown in 1670, becoming the largest enslavement auction block in North America, the second one being in New York City at Wall Street and the East River. How did these people then survive all of that hardship and still recreate this land with some other people who never spoke the same way they did, because here they were coming in from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Sierra Leone, from Liberia, from Angola. They didn't know one another. Even in each one of those countries, there are multiplicity of languages and different dialects they're in. So how could they communicate? How could they understand? That's why our flag says, we be Gullah Geechee anointed people, because the word Gullah itself means people blessed by God. And it had to be a people blessed by God to continue to survive and thrive in the midst of this madness that we now call transatlantic slavery. Then again, it's the only thing the world wants to promote and tell you we have to offer. Is to come take a plantation tour. You know, if you come here, then you get to learn all about what took place. And back then, you know, Mr. So-and-so, he was a businessman. And we're going to show you on the piazza all the nice architectural designs that he had put into the house. Excuse me? Who actually built this house? Well, Mr. So-and-so, like I said, no, did he build this house? Well, I know. Well, what's the little houses way out there? Well, that's where the servants' quarters were. They got paid there. What? Were they servants or were they slaves? Who really built the house? Carolina gold rice, sea island cotton, indigo built this house. But at whose hands, at whose expense, and with whose knowledge? Another commodity, another cargo called black gold.